bit of a green day across the board, or should I start this video for saying, hey traders, John Haley. Bit of a green across the board when it comes to the gold, when it comes to the silver, and all that down home country goodness. So what we're going to be looking at here, guys, is what's happening, just a bit of an update on gold and silver, and plus I've also got an interesting long-term chart that I want to share with you on the gold mining stocks that I think is going to really be interesting to you. That's given us a warning sign that this whole thing we're seeing here for the last 6 months or so could be a precursor to a big move coming down the road. Let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you're seeing in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Alright traders, let's get straight into it. I'm going to start off with the good old Goldie right now is indeed bouncing off. You can see gold actually it continued to make lower highs, and you can see my moving average was trending down. And look at this here, just beautiful sort of flowing movement here. Came down, lower high, came down. Look at it, hit the moving average, rolled over, and we're coming back down to here. So any short-term movements, it's not over, Red Rover. I actually believe we're likely to see something like this again. On the short term, that is, guys, this could last a week. By next year, I see the market up here. So it depends on how you want to sort of look at that and how you sort of trade that. Once again, guys, if you are being involved with gold, my recommendation is just to be an investor, long-term investor, not try to swing it, not try to day trade it, because you're probably likely to get creamed, crushed, and run over like a bug. Right. Now, if you want to learn some trading systems, some trading patterns, and learn how to read the charts, then actually go to johnsflashsale.com, where you can get my trading course for just $7. Normally like $500, but now it's like $7 or something like that, just to help you out. So I do see this thing is not over, Red Rover, yet. We are at a couple of sort of X marks the spot levels when it comes to the gold level. But I wouldn't be fighting this short-term movement that we've been seeing on the gold price. Moving over now through to silver, and silver, we actually had you can see silver had a lot of resistance around the 28 sort of 50 level. We did indeed have a lot of sort of support and resistance around that sort of 24.50 level. So you can see we've been really just in this sideways range. So if we start to break below this 25.50 level, then I wouldn't be too surprised to see this thing start to head back down to sort of 22. You can see where the mid range is. The top resistance was around 28.50, the middle resistance around $25, and then the drop back down would be the low of 22. So if we start to break below 25.50 on the downside, we're probably likely to go back down to 22 and maybe even break that as well. So that's what I'm seeing there when it comes to silver. Move over now through to the GDXJ, and on the short term on the GDXJ, we are still continue to see this thing roll over, making lower highs. You can see here it made a high, a lower high, and now the market's running down. So the moving average is trending down, momentum's down. So I wouldn't be too surprised, guys, if we started to see something like that coming into the GDXJ. Moving into the GDX, same sort of thing. Got the moving average trending down. So this market's ran down, ran back up. Again, I wouldn't be too surprised if we saw a bit more movement on the downside coming out of the GDX here. Also, looking at the SIL. SIL is actually a pretty interesting one. The reason why is because look at this here. We're just stuck. We're just stuck here in a very sideways range. Not really much going on here on this sideways sort of range through here, guys. And in that flash sale, johnsflashsale.com, in that $7 trading course, I talk a lot about chart readings, and there's about 2 or 3 videos there based on chart reading, and I've got a couple of awesome trading systems you can start to implement into your trading as well too. But the big thing about this is that you can see how that we're just range bound through here, range bound around the $14 level, up to around about the sort of $17 to $17.50 level. That's range bound. So if we do start to break below here on the SILJ, then that could spell a bit of a disaster for the silver miners. Now, guys, I'm actually in gold right now. For me personally, I'm also in some of the in a silver mining stock as well too, and silver and stuff like that. So whenever I'm giving you my short-term update, I don't give a shit whether the market drops down, you know, for the next week or so, because I know the long-term movement is coming real soon. Moving over now through to the SIL. And on the SIL, look at what is happening. Look at what is happening. Again, really just the major resistance up around $50 on the SIL. We have this sort of $46 level, which is this major resistance level here. And you can see what happened. Bit of a double top, and now we're rallied back down. If we hold here for a little bit, especially if we do this, if we do something like this, where we do something like that, and then we get a big breakdown like that, that's gonna be disastrous for SIL. Well, and if we get something like this over the next week, then don't be too surprised, guys, if we started to see a pretty big movement on the downside, because that's the pattern that's forming right now. We're starting to get we're starting to get momentum, starting to trend down as well. So this could be setting up for a bit of a move on the downside, guys. And the deflationary, this deflationary period that we're in right now, maybe also go along with the stock market. So we may be getting both scenarios playing out as well too. So if we do start to see something like that, guys, you can see we have a bit of a short-term sort of support and resistance around the 32 level. So if we do start to, once again, if we do start to get something like that, I wouldn't be too surprised if we did get a little, once again, if we did get a little bit of a breakout through here, big strong breakdown through here, guys, then the next level is going to be around about that sort of 30, yeah, the next major resistance support is around that 32. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see a 32 drop. So a big drop might be coming just around the corner, guys. And again, I'm just reading the short-term picture here when it comes to that. And guys, you know, when you go to johnsflashstyle.com and you grab that $7 trading course, I really talk a lot about how just reading the market as it is and not being so biased. One of the biggest mistakes, guys, that I have done in the past, and I was actually talking to some of my private clients recently, is one of the biggest mistakes that I've made in the past is just going based on what I thought was going to happen, instead of just continuing to read the markets, continue to read the flow of the markets. And what I mean by the flow of the markets, again, in the John's Flash Sale, I don't have, you know, in John's Flash Sale, I have three or four videos there. I have about, you know, 10 videos, about 12 hours long, walking you through this. So I won't be able to spend 12 hours just on this one video, but really listening to the flow of the markets. And what I mean by the flow of the markets is, again, in that trading course, guys, I talk a lot about this. So make sure you go get that, because it was going to really help you. It's just listening to what we call, you know, the peaks and the troughs and the flow of what sort of what I'm talking about here as well too, right? Like by looking at, okay, we had a bit of a double top, we're running back down to the support level. What does that mean? We're at the bottom of the support level. Look at the moving average now trending down. What does that mean? So we're starting to we're starting to see what's really going on in the true picture and what's going on there. Now, that's the short-term picture, guys. Again, the SIL, just be careful, because if we do start to get a bit more side movement and then we get a strong breakdown, this could be, we could be getting ready for a big movement on the downside. So, and that might be a bit of a shorting opportunity for me on a short-term trade. So keep an eye for that, guys. Now, let's remove all that aside. I mentioned at the start of this video that there is one market that could be giving us a warning sign of big movements to come long term. All right, long term. That means this movement may not happen until next year. I'm not saying tomorrow, right? Pumpkins and bumblebees and all you followers. Makes sense? So what that market is, drum roll for me, GDXJ. You're like, John, what the hell are you talking about, John? Are you delusional or something? Or guys, I am, you know, it's like, I've only got 2 brain cells, so just bear with me, all right? No, you're probably thinking, John, what are you talking about? And just a minute ago, you talking about how we could get a bit of downward movement in GDXJ, but now you're saying upward movement? Okay, pumpkins, split them apart. One, what could happen over the next few, maybe over the next few days to a week? What may happening? That's what I said there. Now, let's remove that cap and put on the investor cap. Okay, where's this thing going from the next 5 years? And if I bring up this chart here, which is just a bar chart, bring up my weekly chart, squeeze it up so I can get the bigger picture, and I can see how we were in a massive channel to the upside. As you can see, we actually got a bit of strong support level. As you can see, we were in a massive channel to the upside. We are still getting a bit of a pullback through here. But once this overall big picture, right? So over the next 3 to 6 months as this thing unfolds, because it won't happen straight away. But if this market can start to hold here and we start to rally up like that, this here is going to be a major low, I believe, for many, many, many years to come. But we need to make this sure that we need to get this thing rallying back up first to around about the 60 level. Once that happens, guys, then I see big hockey stick movement. Now, guys, I said hockey stick movement, and I'm looking at a weekly chart. All right, pumpkins. It's probably going to take 6 to 12 months, maybe a couple of years for that to unfold. Not like, oh, he said the market is going to go hockey stick, and it didn't happen. Really, pumpkins? Really? Are you that delusional? No. Things take time in the market. If some of you guys have a picture in your mind of what you think is the market's going to look like because you see GameStop, but you didn't realize GameStop was going up for 2 or 3 months slowly before that actually happened, or something like that. Because you think, or you think a crash is going to look something like this: bam, 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 bam. Right? Nah. Even in the whole cough situation last year, what did the crash do? Went down, went up for a bit, went down, went up for a bit, went down, went down, went down, went up for a bit, went down. Right? We had this swinging motion there. So my number one thing, guys, right now is looking at the GDXJ long term. But on the short term, as I said before, out of all of these markets, by looking at the absolute short term, we've got the GDXJ once again sideways. The GDX, same sort of thing as well too. But that SIL, we're at that level of support. We could be getting ready for a big a drop to the downside on the short term, guys. So this here mainly was focused on the short term, what could be happening over the next few days. This may or may not happen. But once again, guys, focus on trading a pattern. And I just walked you through some patterns in this video. But make sure you head on down to johnsflashstyle.com. Grab that $7 trading course. You're going to absolutely love it. And heck, I'll give you a refund as well too. I'll give you $7 if you're not happy with it, all right? I'll give you $7 back. Anyway, just go get the help you need. And I'll speak to you guys real soon.